In the repair shop today...
I don't think I've seen one ever as bad as this.
A clock that gives Steve and Kirsten a hard time.
I can't really paint something like this and breathe at the same time.
But a beast from the east brings good news for Brenton.
This is definitely brass or bronze, which is just great.
First at the barn is Andy Crook from Cornwall. His hopes for restoring a very special inheritance rest on musical instrument expert Pete Woods.
How we doing? You all right?
Thanks.
That is a big tube,
It's a monster, isn't it?
So, Andy, is that yours?
No, this is my father's tuba. And I came from a place called Wigan, which is a very big brass band area. When I was a young lad, I always wanted to play the trombone. And I hassled my dad to take me to a band, which he did. And on practice nights, he would come and sit by with his newspaper and watch. The band conductor looked across and said to him, right, you need to join in as well. So we found a tuba in the cupboard, and he started to learn, and we learned together.
Wow,
So that's how he started his career, yeah.
So both of you got in a band at the same time?
Yeah, yeah. And then we later split to two different bands, so for many years we competed against each other. So we were both practicing at home. Yeah. And then we'd go to the competition, and it was good rivalry. It was great. The family lived and breathed brass bands for a number of years.
What's your dad's name, sir?
Frank Crook.
Was it just brass bands your dad used to play?
Well, no. My father moved on from brass bands in the late 70s to join a comedy band called Laughingstock. He dressed up as a rear admiral.
OK.
They were a five-piece band playing music, but continual jokes, tricks all the way through. They were doing the northern club circuit, working men's clubs, labour clubs, constitutional clubs, etc. The two claims to fame was they got called to go to the Crazy Horse Club in Paris.
Wow.
Apparently it went down a storm. And then they went onto a TV variety show. My father was a very, very quiet man until he got onto the stage. And then he just turned into a performer. It was amazing, the transformation.
You have to be a good musician to put the comedy into the music as well.
Yeah. I mean,
and you've actually seen your dad perform?
Oh, a number of times, yeah. I was very proud of him. Yeah.
That's nice, man.
My father passed away in 1998.
OK.
The band split up long before that.
Did your father give you this, then?
No, he didn't. I wasn't aware of its existence until my mother passed away about a year and a half ago. I thought all his instruments and all his equipment had all gone.
So how did you feel when you found that?
Oh, I was quite emotional, in fact.
Yeah?
The last person to breathe into that instrument, to blow a note in there, was my father.
Yeah.
And nobody's done it since.
Yeah. What's actually wrong with it?
Right, because there's a valve missing, you can't actually play it. It's supposed to be shiny. Many years in the attic have oxidised it. So if it could be cleaned up...
Yeah.
I'm not too concerned about the dents.
That would spoil the history.
Yeah, that's the history, yeah.
So your intention is to play this?
Very much so, yeah.
That's what you want to do?
To play that again would be so much to me.
OK.
We started off together. I do miss him. To hear it play again, to hear the sound, not only for him, but for the family, be fantastic.
Yeah, we've got to make that happen for you. Thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you.
All right, you take care.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
This tube was so important because it belonged to my father. He was not only my father, he was my friend, my mentor, he was my rock. He would be so excited and so pleased that I'm doing this. Yeah, I think it would make his day.
Well, he's brought us in a good old tuba. Needless to say, it's in a little bit of a state at the moment. Obviously, a valve missing. First thing I'm going to do is take out the two valves that are remaining and check them out, and then I can see what I've got to do to make a new one. That's what the valves look like. They're a piece of tube with other pieces of tube. What they do is they divert air down the extra pieces of tubing to lower the note. Obviously, the longer the bit of tubing, the lower the note. So we've just got to make a replacement. The other thing we've got to do is we've got to check it for leaks. Very suspicious here and get my thumbnail underneath. If we've got an air leak, it'll throw the tuning out. We're going to fill it with water, see how much water gashes out the joints and see where the air leaks are, and then I know what I've got to get on with.
Next to arrive is Kamal from Cheshire.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm
hi.
Steve.
Hi, Steve. I'm Kamal.
Come on into the barn.
Thank you.
She's hoping horologist Steve Fletcher can rejuvenate a treasure from her childhood.
Right, you've got a clock for me.
I have indeed.
It looks as if it's had a life.
It certainly has. So this has been in my family for over 50 years. It's older than me. It belonged to my late father. My dad died in 2011, which was a very sudden death, which has devastated all of us. And my mum really struggled without him. I mean, they'd been married for about 54 years. And sadly, she passed away in 2017. And it was something that had come to me when we were clearing out the house. I thought, I wonder where that clock is. And I found it in the cellar, tucked in the corner. For me, this clock represents quite a lot of interesting things about my family history.
OK.
My family was Sikhs and originally from Punjab region. And, you know, they were part of a very pioneering generation of Indians who were invited to come over to England to help to contribute to post-war regeneration.
Yeah.
Life was tough for them. I mean, they were only allowed to bring £5 in their pocket, which
Whoa.
was set by the Indian government at the time.
What did your parents do when they came over here?
My mum worked in tailoring and my dad was in engineering, but it took a while to get established. They experienced a lot of racism, discrimination, and I think it's a lot to be said about them and who they were and the strength and the resilience that they had to overcome a lot of that, really, and very much integrate into, you know, life in England. I mean, my dad was very much a Yorkshireman, really. He'd spent most of his life in Yorkshire as much as anything else, so that's how he saw himself.
It's very brave to come to a completely different country with a different culture.
It is. I look back and I'm incredibly proud of what they achieved. To me, the clock represents something about him and who he was.
Where was the clock when it was in the house?
It used to be in the front lounge,
Yeah.
which is where my dad would keep his, like, really nice special things. Yeah.
Okay. And tell me about your memories of the clock.
It just had a really lovely, very soothing chime, really. It was always there. There's a picture of me standing next to the clock, yeah.
So how come this clock ended up in the cellar?
I don't know if it's something that my dad had placed there because he couldn't get it to work but didn't have the heart to throw it away.
Was it a damp basement?
It wasn't too bad, but obviously you can see that there's quite a lot of rust on it. I remember this being very golden and this being very sort of shiny black.
It looks like a real challenge, but I'm hoping I can do something for you.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye now.
Bye-bye, bye. The clock's a lovely reminder of my late father and the sacrifices, I suppose, that he and my mum made. There's something very comforting about the chime of the clock. It feels in some ways the last bit of a memory that I've got of him and my childhood, I suppose.
This clock is in appalling condition. I don't think I've seen one ever as bad as this. It's made of metal. The paint is all peeling off. It's rusty. Here we've got the missing bezel. I hope this dial's going to clean up all right. There's loads and loads of cracks on it. Maybe it might need some attention. I'm just going to have a look inside and see what there is inside. There's a lot of rattling around going on. The mechanism is all there, which is good news. And fortunately, I can't see anything on here that's been messed around with, which is great news. I will strip it down, give it a good clean, see if there's anything that needs to be repaired, and hopefully the mechanism will be the easy part of this job. I think the case will be the hardest part. I need to strip the whole case down, get it sandblasted so that I can refinish it, and it's going to look great when I've done that.
While Steve's got a plan for tackling rust, Pete suspects his challenge is escaping air.
It's important there's no air leaks, even little tiny ones. It throws the tuning out, it makes notes difficult to produce properly. Every joint's susceptible. I can see there's a nice big leak down there. It's almost like a water feature. It's actually in quite an awkward place. I've got to find a way of blocking that hole up so I can start repairing it properly. I've got to get the nasty air leak sealed. I'm going to push it in so that the holes close up, and then I can solder them up. That's as near as I'm going to get it. Time to solder now.
This tuba brought a father and son together to make music, and fixing it is also a family affair. Pete's brought along his son, George, to help.
Right, George, can you give us a hand polishing this, please? I've still got to get on with the valves.
OK.
But we're leaving all the dents in it. The slides as well, please, mate.
All right, OK. I'll get them done for you.
That's great.
No
Cheers.
worries. I'm using brass liquid polish and just strapping it down. I'm using different thicknesses so then I can get in all the nooks and crannies. It's good fun working with me dad. I've worked with Dad on and off for about 20 years, since I left school anyway, and he was pretty much doing the same thing when he left school. It's a bit of following in Dad's footsteps, but I play the trumpet anyway, so I've always been into the brass instrument.
When Andy came in, there was a valve missing. It's a 1920s tuba. You can't just pick up the phone. A new one will be delivered the next day. So I phoned up my friends, searched around. Luckily enough, somebody had a tuba exactly the same, so they very kindly lent me a third valve so I can copy it. So at the moment, I'm just making a paper template of it. I'm gonna do like a brass rubbing to find out where the holes are. And then I can transfer that onto the new piece of tube. So that's nice dot punch marks. All I've got to do is drill it. I've now got to open up these holes to take that size tube. So I'm just going to use a cone cutter and gradually open them up to make sure I get to the right size. They're looking quite nice, actually, now, so I've just got another 4 more to do. Just hope they all go as well. I've now got all the ports into the tube to make the valve for the tuba. So now all we've got to do is silver solder them in to make sure they stay in there and don't come out again. We've more or less made the valve now. So we're just on the final bit, which is putting the end cap on. But it's been a fair old job making this valve. It's great when you're in a factory with all the machinery all set up. When you have to do one by hand, it's not quite as easy. So there it is. Now all we've got to do is fit it to the tuba.
Tracy Lavery and her daughter Zoe have travelled from Devon. They're relying on Brenton West's silversmithing skills to fix a curio that's a traditional symbol in the Far East, but firmly rooted in their family.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
So, what's in the box, Tracy?
In the box is the food dog.
A food dog?
A food dog, who is affectionately known in our household as my dad.
My
This is
dad?
my dad.
Oh, all right.
When my dad left my mum years ago,
Yeah.
she decided, because it wasn't the prettiest thing she'd ever seen, she nicknamed it my dad after my dad, basically.
Is Mum still with us?
No, she died 3 years ago. Yeah. Even though she called it my dad, she was attached to it. It is a connection to my mum that makes him so valuable, and also her cheeky sense of humour, because the fact that she called it my dad,
Yeah.
it just reminds you that that's what my mum was like.
Says a lot about her personality, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Right.
Yeah.
Has my dad just always been in the family?
I think I can remember it on my grandma's mantelpiece. And then when my grandma died, it was left to my mum.
Okay.
It's always been with my mum. Wherever she went, he came with her.
He came
Yeah.
with her. And what did she use it for?
She would put a note in it, our shopping list, and some money for us. And she would say, would you go to the shops? The money in the note's in your dad. And then when it came into my possession, I sort of carried on the tradition, not so much with shopping lists, but
Yeah.
more with money for the girls.
And your memories of this, Zoe? What were they like?
The lunch money would get put in there, so the first person down there might have had slightly more money than the second. So, yeah, we always had a little bit of a race in the morning to see who could get there first.
Do you know where your gran got it from?
My granddad was a boilermaker and went to sea, so he used to bring back all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And we think he must have brought it back from Asia, perhaps Japan.
It certainly has the taste of the Orient about it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What was it originally used for?
I was told it's an incense burner, so you'd put the incense inside and then the smoke would come out of its mouth.
Okay. How did it get broken?
Don't know how it got broken. It was broken when my mum had it, and I can remember her trying to get it fixed.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what to do with it.
Did she keep it until she died?
We, about 10 years ago, had a house fire which destroyed all of our property. So when everything was getting rebuilt, this was one of the main items that my grandma wanted to hand down to us, so that we've still got a bit of family in the home, because we'd lost everything, including all pictures.
Everything?
Yeah.
That's really important, because that's basically the family connection that you've got there.
Yeah.
What's actually wrong with him?
His head's come off, and then his tail, I haven't got anything to hold that on with.
His head
He has
goes
got
up.
a couple of little cracks around the top.
So what would you like Brenton to do to him?
I'd like its head and its tail back on, basically.
OK. You don't want it polished up or anything, do you? No. OK.
No, I want him to look like he looks.
But work.
Yeah.
OK.
Yeah.
And then you're going to still use it for the same thing? Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to stay on the window ledge.
Yeah.
We've got no little people at the moment, but perhaps one day we'll have little people.
OK.
No pressure.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for bringing me dad in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You take care now. Bye-bye.
The food dog's the one thing that I've got left of my mum's. Towards the end, she had Alzheimer's, so we lost bits of her. But
It's okay, it's all right.
it sums up how cheeky and naughty she was in that she called at my dad. And I think this would have meant an awful lot to her to see my dad in one piece again.
What an amazing thing it is. It's a lion dog from Asia, and it is a awesome-looking beast, but unfortunately it's had a bit of a hard time, so I've just got to decide how I'm going to repair it. The tail, we've got a hole and a plug on there, so I've just got to re-solder this on. The worst problem is this great big heavy head has got a hinge, and one of the hinge bearers is broken off of the body. What I think I'll do is I'll solder this on and put a new pin through, and hopefully this will hinge forwards and backwards nicely. Before I start any of this work, I just want to absolutely guarantee it's not spelter or pewter that's been coloured brown, and when I heat it up, it's all going to melt. So I'm just going to give it a little tiny scrape with a scalpel. And that noise indicates it's a hard metal, and I can actually see there that this is gold-coloured, so this is definitely brass or bronze, which helps me a great deal. It means I can use a soft solder on this. It gives me lots of leeway and latitude for heating it, which is just great.
Steve is feeling equally positive about the metalwork of the old mantel clock.
The parts for the case have come back from the sandblasters. They made a great job. They've taken the paintwork off and the rust off. I just need to build layers of primer up on it now and make sure it's a beautiful, smooth surface so that when I paint it with the final black coat, it's going to look beautiful.
Steve has enlisted Kirsten Ramsey's ceramics expertise for the chipped clock face.
I'm going to use a coloured fill technique, and that mimics the enamel beautifully. This is a lemon yellow. I've got a slightly warmer yellow here, which I'm going to add in. I think that's all right. I think I'm good to go with that.
I'm just going to put some metal leaf on the ornaments of the case to try and get a good finish on them. This isn't gold leaf, it's an aluminium leaf. And I just find it easier to use. This is very, very satisfying to do. That looks really good. I'm very happy with that. I'll just get on to all the other bits now.
I find painting dials actually incredibly difficult. Can't really paint something like this and breathe at the same time, so. I'm using an Indian ink for this. It has the intensity, the blackness that I need for the numerals. When the line goes right, it's very satisfying.
Now that I've cleaned all the parts of the clock, I can see much more clearly the wear that's taken place. And it's wear in the pivot holes. So the pivots are the actual axles of the wheels of the clocks. And because they're turning so many times, the holes, they actually start to elongate. I'm just going to work on this hole now, which is worn over in this direction, and I need to bring it back to centre. So I'm going to file on the other side of the hole just to centre it all up. There. So I've centred that up now, and this should just fit in snugly now. Beautiful. I'm just going to pop the other plate on top to make sure that the wheel spins nicely. There we are. So I just need to go through and do all of the other pivot holes now, and then it'll all be ready to get back together and hopefully work perfectly.
Pete's restoration of the tuba is nearly complete, not least thanks to his son.
George has done a great job on this. It's a lot of work polishing the silver. Now all I've got to do is start assembling it. So I've just got to grease up the slides and away we go. So now I've got to put the valves in. Just going to put some valve oil on, which lubricates the valve going up and down. And now for the special valve, the one that I had to make. I think Andy's going to like this.
The tuba arrived at the barn silenced by damage. It had last been played by Andy's late father over 30 years ago and was a poignant reminder of the close relationship between father and son. Now, Andy's returned.
I'm in trepidation, a bit of nerves, but really excited. Just can't wait to see it. I've been thinking quite a lot of Dad and listening to his music and really reminiscing about the good times that we had. I'm hoping that I get a little bit of my dad back.
Andy, hi.
Good afternoon.
How's it going? You okay?
Great, thank you. Hello,
Hi,
Pete.
Andy.
Nice to see you again.
How are you feeling?
A little bit nervous, but really excited to see if you've been able to do anything for me.
You're looking forward to seeing it?
Oh, yeah, very much so.
Go on, Pete.
Wow, that's incredible. It's amazing. And it's got some of the dents in that I remember him actually doing.
We've left you all the dents for the memories in there.
That's fantastic. My father didn't want a pristine tuba because it was all part of his act.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. I'm amazed. It's a miracle.
We've now got all the valves in there. I managed to make one.
That is incredible.
It was a pleasure to do.
Oh, brilliant.
Do you fancy giving it a go?
Yeah, so I've actually listened to Dad playing and I've written the music out. I've not had an instrument to try it on, so fingers crossed I've written it right. Can't do that.
If you haven't had anything to practice on, that's marvellous, mate. Yeah.
Well done, mate.
It feels so good to be doing that.
I bet.
Yeah.
It feels very, very good.
Hope you'll carry on using it.
I most definitely will.
Yeah. Make your own dents in it now.
Yep, and every time I do, I'll be thinking to Dad. It invokes so many memories and so many emotions. I can feel his presence just by holding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just brings it a little bit back of my father back to me. Thank you. We're forever grateful.
Brilliant. Andy, it's been an absolute pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much for bringing this in.
Thank you ever so much.
Lovely.
Thank you.
It's been good doing it. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. I am absolutely elated. The tuba brings back all the memories, all the good times. He was a very good father. We had so much fun, and the tuba itself, just to look at it, brings back the fun we had and the laughs we had. It's just so good to have it back.
Brenton has been pondering the positioning of the foo dog's broken-off tail.
I'm wondering whether it goes down or up, and I feel that it probably goes down. I'm just going to use some soft solder. Hopefully, this will stay in place. The solder is like a plumber's solder. It will join the two bits together. Right, I'm just going to let that cool down, and then I can start to look at the cracks. One of the hinge bearers is broken off of the body, and that enables it to hinge up and down and not fall off. I've got a pair of spring tweezers, and they are permanently closed by the spring, and then if you squeeze them, they open. It'll hold on to something, and that won't fall out. And I'm now going to solder this back on. I know this is really important to the family to get this functional again, because it is the only thing that they've got left from that period. And it does evoke memories for them, so I want it to be as nice as possible. That's soldered really well. So now I've got a little bit of colouring to do, where the bronze has become slightly clean and the solder marks just so it's all the same colour again. What I'm using is a patinating fluid. It reacts with the bronze and with the solder and makes them go dark, and very, very quick reaction. And what it does is it matches the original patination. The repairs now look like they're 100 years old.
Having revitalised the metalwork and mechanism of the mantel clock, Steve is ready to reinstate its crowning glory.
Kirsten has made an amazing job of the dial. I mean, it's just fantastic. And I've sourced this bezel here that fits onto the dial assembly really, really well. So it's all coming together. This really is a transformation. Most clocks, when I restore them, I'm very careful not to do too much to them. But this was in such poor condition that I didn't have a choice. Right, now just time to put the pendulum on. Make sure it's all ticking away nicely. Just pop it onto the mechanism there. That sounds really sweet. Fantastic.
The clock was rusty and hadn't worked for years, but for Kamal, it was a powerful link to her late father and childhood memories of its chime.
The clock's really important to me because it's symbolic of my family history, my father. Seeing this beautiful clock restored would be just something that I think he would just be delighted to have witnessed, I suppose.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you, yes.
Good.
How you feeling?
I'm excited, I'm nervous, a little bit, you know.
So what are you hoping for?
I'm hoping to see the clock in its former glory.
Okay.
And I'd love to hear it chime again.
Want to see it?
Oh, gosh. Go on, then.
Yeah, you ready?
I think so, yeah.
OK.
Steve.
Oh, my gosh. That's actually better than I remember it. It's lovely, thank you.
Just one more thing, I'll just...
Oh. That's amazing. I just never thought it would ever work again. It's just amazing. I'm actually shaking.
Ah.
I feel so sort of overcome. I feel like I'm about 9 or 10 hearing it in the living room.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my dad's just around listening to some music and we're kind of in and out as children. It just takes me right back there. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
It feels like that is just symbolic of who he was, I think.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to get it home.
Oh, I bet.
Honestly.
I'm going to get Steve to wrap it up and bring it out to you.
I really do appreciate it. So thank you.
You're more than welcome. It's been such an enjoyable job to do for you.
Oh, thank you all. Thank you.
You take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
When I look at the clock now, I obviously think about my dad. It feels like that real big connection to him. And I miss him every day. So, yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful symbol.
With repairs to the body of the food dog finished, Brenton's final task is ensuring the lid will be attached securely.
I'm just making the pin which will hold the head in place. And the pin is very slightly tapered, so when it goes in there, it sort of locks into place. So I've just marked on my pin the length that needs to be of this saw, and I'm just going to saw the end off. So when I put the pin back in, it'll be exactly the right length. So now I'm going to put the pin in, and I don't want to damage this quite frail thing, so I'm just going to press that home. So that's the pin in now. Let's just see if this works. There we go. So that's looking fantastic. And Tracy can come and pick this up now and put pocket money and lists and whatever they like in it for the next 100 years.
The food dog has been part of family life for 4 generations, but broken for many decades. Tracy and her daughter Zoe have returned, hoping he will bring many more years of service.
The food dog is basically my connection with my mum and my mum's family. I'm just really excited to see what he'll look like being whole again.
There they are.
Hello.
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 How you doing? You all right?
Fine, thank you.
Hello there.
Welcome back, both of you. You excited to see your food dog?
Yeah.
Really excited.
Yeah?
Can't wait to see him. We need him back now, please.
You need him back?
Yes,
Please.
please.
Go on, Brenton.
Oh, he just looks like he always did. Oh, he's just lovely. Oh, yeah, that's just what I wanted. I didn't want him to be polished and looking like new. I wanted him to look like that. That's why I remember. So you've never seen him when he's done that before, have you? He has had some of his dust taken off, hasn't he?
Do you want it back?
No, I don't want it back. It makes me happy that his pieces aren't going to get lost and he's going to stay like that. Sorry, I wasn't going to cry. He's been broken for such a long time and my mum would have loved to have seen him back in one piece.
Yeah.
Being able to open it properly takes me back to getting it off the mantelpiece and getting the money in the note out. It does take me back.
So it's been passed from your grandmother to your mum, and now you've got it, then
Yeah.
who is it going to after?
One of the girls, whoever wants it, basically,
Okay.
we'll let them fight it out.
Shared custody, maybe.
Shared custody would be good.
Who's more likely to keep it whole?
You probably.
Correct.
Correct. Right. So we know where it's going then. Well, it is yours to take home now.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you very
Pleasure.
much.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
You take
Bye-bye.
care now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Beaming smiles, that's what I like to see.
Same here,
Yeah.
same here. And that's because of you.
Thank you.
Well done, sir.
I've never seen the food dog whole in one piece, so to have it now as a whole ornament and know that it's going to stay like that is really nice, and it's going to be something that is now passed down through our family forever more, hopefully.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's my mum's history, my grandma's history, but it is my history as well. And just good to have a little bit of that history left and in one piece. I just feel like I've got one of the last pieces of my mum back again.